This is season 2 and episode 12 of Big Lap Chats. Welcome. Welcome to another episode. It's good to have you here, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening in on your favorite podcast platform. Today, we're going to talk about your first 30 days on the road. So everyone spends months planning their lap. Then the first week hits and it feels like nothing that you expect. It's not bad. It's just different. And it's not because anything has gone wrong, it's just because you don't know what to expect and no one really tells you what those first 30 days are actually like. Things might take longer. Well, they probably will take longer than when you've been on the road for 12 months. You'll have everything down pat by then. So it feels harder and then you start to second guess yourself, especially if things go wrong, which sometimes they do. This episode is about those first 30 days and what's it really like, so you don't feel like you're doing it wrong. There's no right or wrong, just whatever's right for you. What feels harder than expected and what gets easier quickly, and where most people go, that first week feels a bit messy, and that's normal. And that's why I encourage people to take that first week. And if you can stay in one spot for that first week or even 10 days, just to settle into the lifestyle. So it might be different if you're leaving from a city and you really want to get on the outskirts of the city. You might have to drive more than 2 or 3 hours that day. But wherever you land, if you can set up and stay there for a week to 10 days and just settle into the lifestyle. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Is it does feel a bit messy in that first month, and it's because you haven't found your rhythm yet. It's really simple now for us, where, this is year 3 for us on the road. So we can pack up and go within half an hour of where we are. But that only comes from knowing where everything lives, how to pack it up in your own routine that works for you as well. But in that first month, everything takes that little bit longer than you think it's going to be. And you are moving. Whereas if you have caravan before or camped before, probably go away for a couple of weeks and then you pack up and you go home. And then you unpack and clean the van and so forth. You don't actually move or travel to the next spot and do the same thing over and over again.
Want the inside scoop on Australia's best free camps and hidden gems? BLC crew members get the extended cut out of every episode, plus bonus content and tips you won't find anywhere else. Jump in at the blccrew.allaroundoz.com.au.
When in our first month, we travelled a lot when I look back over what we did in that first month. And I think it was way too fast. And that's a trap that we all tend to fall into because everything's new, it's exciting, you feel like you're on holidays. So things like packing up and hitching and checking things off and leaving, they all take time. And you'll probably forget things at least once. You might forget to close a cupboard. And when you get to your next destination, you open the door and things might actually meet you at the door. So don't worry about it. It happens to all of us. It still happens sometimes. If we are now out of our routines, we forget things. So we are in a routine to pack up the inside and Kev packs up the outside. But if one of us gets distracted or someone will come and talk to us or whatever, and then we go back to what we were doing, we're out of that rhythm and we tend to forget things, and that's when things happen. Like I've left a full cupboard open where all our crockery is, all our dinnerware is stashed. So, that was all over the floor and one of the bowls broke. So they're the sort of things that can happen. It can also feel a bit overwhelming, especially if you are traveling long distances and just doing overnight stops, which we did in that first week. Our first night was 2 nights. Then we drove the next day 3 or 4 hours and had an overnight stop, and then another 3 hours, an overnight stop, and then another 3 hours, and we stayed 4 days. And that was when we left Hervey Bay, went to Rockhampton, and then went inland and up to Corumba from there. So that was a fairly quick trip. We'd definitely slow that down now if we had our chance to do it again. Don't be so hard on yourself. You're just learning your own rhythm and routine. Your setup and your pack down takes way longer than you think it's going to. What you thought would take 20 minutes or half an hour might take you an hour. Outside, you've got leveling and stabilizers to put down and hooking up to water and power if you're in a caravan park. Got to get the hoses out, all the cables connected, and Starlink if you're using Starlink. And then when you leave, you've got to pack it all away again. Very quickly, you find that you refine your process of what works for you and you get into that rhythm fairly quickly. And by the end of the month, you'll feel a lot better. If you get into the habit of packing up and unpacking in that same order, it'll make things easier for you. It just becomes another thing that you do in that section. You could probably do it blindfolded in the end. You're in a routine. It's the same thing when if you're still at work and you're listening to this and you're driving to work, you probably, leave at the same time, drive to work the same way, or drive down to a station if you catch a train to work or a bus to work. You do that same thing. You have a routine for those, Monday to Friday. It's the same thing when you're traveling. If you get into a good routine, create a habit of doing things in the same order, then things won't get forgotten. Even though you're sitting and doing nothing while you're driving, they can be quite tiring. I know that sounds ridiculous. And if you've got a car full of kids too, I can remember what that's like. And yeah, snacks are a thing. They're constant, questions, etc., etc. It can be. So you're towing, especially for the driver, watching mirrors, road conditions, wind. If you're out back, then you're looking at road trains, dealing with those, slower caravans, camper vans, those sorts of things. Your fuel stops, you're having to plan those a little bit better, and they do take longer as well. And if you have to drive, like we're in WA at the moment, and the length between towns is actually getting longer stretches. These days, we don't really like to travel any more than a couple of hours, but we have been traveling 3.5 hours because that's what we have to do to get to the next place. But if you can, limit it. Even if you're on a 12-month lap, if you can just limit your drive time in that first month or so, month to 6 weeks. So you're not driving 3 or 4 hours a day. It's tiring. The other thing that you might do is you'll second guess yourself, the decisions that you've made. Did we go the right way? Did we choose the right way to go? Did we plan this the right way? Should we have stayed longer? Are we rushing too much? Again, you'll work that rhythm out for yourselves. There's no perfect decision. There's only the best one that suits you and the way you want to travel and your lifestyle. If you're on a 12-month trip, you might have it planned down to the last minute. I hope not, because you'll be kind of disappointed along the way. So stay flexible for that first month. And then once you get into a rhythm and create some habits, you'll settle into your own pace, what works for you. And after that time, you'll probably start to adjust your pace of, you go from maybe the first couple of weeks being too fast, you realize you don't need to move as often. And especially at the moment with the fuel situation being as it is, we're finding a lot of people are just staying put for longer and really having a look around the area that they're in. So you start staying a bit longer in places. We like to stay a minimum of 4 days in a place now, preferably a week, depending on where that is, of course. But if we're travelling from A to B and it's 5-hour distance, then we'll do an overnighter in the middle of that. 5 hours is just tipping over. It being a bit too much, we don't need to rush. We're not on a timeline, so that's our preferred travel day. And I guess if you've got kids as well, for couples, we can make our own minds up. We have to, if you have children in the back seats, then you have to consider them as well. And 5 hours in a car, I don't think many kids would sit still for that long straight. So, and they need breaks. Take some breaks, give the kids a chance to run around and burn some energy and things like that. Once you work out that pace for you, that's when your trip and your travel style will start to feel really good instead of rushed and you feeling panicking. because everything's rushed for you and you're hurrying up and you'd rather just be. It's okay to have a couple of chill days. You don't have to go and do and see every single thing where you are. So take that time and just take some time out. The kids need it too. If they just want to, let them have a screen day. It's not going to, it's not going to harm them in any way. And then all of a sudden, what felt hard at first for you will become really easy. And maybe it could be things like whoever's driving, the reversing becomes easier, the setup becomes more routine, you know what to check, and that becomes second nature. You're doing things like that without even thinking about it. And then you stop overthinking. Oh, have I done this and have I done that? And did I close that door? And did I turn the power off? And did I turn the pumps off? And did I put it into what we call eco mode to travel, where everything's off except for the fridge? And that's when you start to feel better, and then your confidence will build with that. And then there's the emotional side of things too. It's exciting, but it's also tiring. You're constantly making decisions. You think, oh, how hard could it be to make a decision on where to stay next? But when you're in a spot where you can go to a number of different places, like at the moment, we're on the West Australian coast. We could go inland to Carrigini, or we could go up the coast. It's still a bit iffy of what's going to be open at Exmouth in a couple of weeks' time. So do we go inland? Do we stay on the coast? Those sorts of things. So you're constantly making decisions. Where at home, everything's routine. There's not a lot of decision making going on because you're in that routine. You know that you're doing this from Monday to Friday. Saturdays, Sundays, fairly easy. You know the area, and that's life. But on the road, it's different. So you might miss the familiarity of routine. And then all of a sudden it just clicks and falls into place. Yeah, that's not to worry. It's like anything new. When you're learning something new or doing something new, until that becomes familiar, can bring up a little bit of anxiety. Here are some of the biggest mistakes I see in the first 30 days and that people tell me about. Trying to do too much too fast. Like I say, just slow down. Not allowing buffer days, like those chill days. Over planning things. So you've got to be here and you've got to be there and you've got to be there on that date and there on that date. Or you don't plan anything and you can't get in anywhere. We've never had a problem in 3 years. We know we're heading north at the moment. We're leaving where we are in 2 days' time, but we don't know where we're going yet. So we haven't booked anywhere. And even the low-cost camps these days, you have to book them. You can't just rock up anymore. You used to be able to do that, but all the parks, national park campgrounds and things like that have to be booked online. There is that you do have to plan ahead in certain places, but we've never not had somewhere to stay for the night. So there is always somewhere. And the other thing that I see is not factoring in fatigue. You will get tired, without a doubt. That's just a fact of those first 30 days. And this is what I see in talking to people that, come chat to us, or this is what I hear about and read about in our groups. Here's a couple of things that I would tell you before you leave. One is, first of all, be ready before the date that you're leaving. So if you're going to leave next Monday, try and be ready the Monday beforehand. So you're not rushing right at the end. That also leads to a lot of fatigue in those first 30 days. It's such a big build-up. It's so exciting. It's this thing that you've been talking about for months and months and months, if not years. And in a week's time, it's actually happening. So if you can give yourself that buffer for a week before you even leave, you'll feel a lot better and a lot calmer. Slow down earlier than you think. Allow that first week or 10 days and then only travel 2 hours and then stay 3 or 4 days. See how that works for you. Just in those first 30 days until you find your rhythm. Don't compare your trip with someone else's trip. And give yourself time to learn your setup, how to set up, how to pack up, and what works for you. And expect those first few weeks to be a learning phase. Now, this might be different for you if you've been living in your van for a month or so. You know, that I'm saying allow that week's buffer. If you can actually move into your van for that first week before you leave, that's even better. So everything becomes familiar. You'd sort out your cupboards and drawers and where things live and those sorts of things. That will give you a huge advantage in those first 30 days. There's a lot of people that think, oh, we'll just wing it. I'm yet to see someone just throw stuff in a caravan and throw stuff in a car and head off on whatever day. It does take some planning. There are decisions to be made. Like, what are you going to do? Just walk out of your house and leave stuff in the fridge and your electricity on and so there are those things that you have to plan. You don't have to lock everything in, but having a realistic framework is advisable. And know those distances for that first week or two and the pace and the options that you could have along the way. And then you'll find that you'll just ease into this lifestyle. Now, if you need some help with planning, I have a planning guide that helps you plan a lap. If this is the first time you've come across Big Lap Chats and all around Oz, the website, and we have a Facebook group, Planning a Lap of Australia, is dedicated just to help people plan a lap of Australia. And what we do is we help you turn one day. People say, oh, I'm going to do a big lap one day, but we're going to turn that one day into day one. So day one when you drive out of your driveway. And that's what we're all about, helping you get organised. That's all it is. Help you get organised so you can drive out your driveway. And if you want to go check that out, I'll leave a link in the comments below and you can go and check that out. But that's the end of the episode for this week. There's a couple of things that I want you to remember. Slower than you think. It's longer than you expect, packing up and unpacking. And it's easier once you find your rhythm. So thanks for joining me and I will see you next week.